Hello everybody and welcome to another one of our short training videos. In this particular one we're going to talk about making mistakes. Now if you remember, what I'm doing is taking you through the different aspects of leadership to help you understand how to become a more effective leader, how to become more successful, how to grow as a leader, how to develop as a leader. Now, one of the key things of being a leader is you make mistakes. I make mistakes. We all make mistakes. But how do we address them? Bear Bryant said, when you make a mistake, there are only three things you have to do. Three things. The first is to admit it. The second is learn from it. And the third is don't repeat it. Admit it, learn from it, don't repeat it. That's the summary of making mistakes. So I guess after that you could say, well, I have nothing more to share with you because it's all wrapped up in that particular phrase. But we're going to delve into a few aspects just to spend some time here with each other. So my name is Igwe and I have been growing, leading and developing teams across 5 different countries and Europe, Middle East and Africa over the past 35 years of my career. And what I seek to do in these videos is really just share with you some insights, some nuggets, some reminders as to what leadership is all about. So if you've been following us, you know I request that you comment, like, share the videos and of course subscribe to the channel so you know when other videos are coming up. So let's delve into this a little bit more. I, over my entire career, have met people who, whether from a basis of ego, arrogance, whatever you want to call it, many different words in between, say to me, I don't make mistakes, or I haven't made a mistake. Or even worse, it wasn't my mistake. Now, the truth is, we all make mistakes, and we will all continue to make mistakes. The difference is, are we going to allow the mistakes to become our modus operandi, the way in which we function? Because through those mistakes you are supposed to learn, but if you're not learning through those mistakes, something is missing, so there's a disconnect. So I just want to leave you with 3 specific aspects that I think are linked to mistakes. And those are these. And these are more, once you've made the mistakes, how do you remedy them and how do you go forward? Because otherwise you get stuck in this place of no man's land. So the first one is, mistakes are there to help you to become a better person. A better leader, absolutely, but a better human being as well. Because at the end of the day, the mistakes that you make, yes, they have impact on the business, they have impact on your team, they have impact that ripple through different areas of the business or your business life and even into your own private life, because if business is not going as well or you've made a big mistake, you're worried about being fired or something else is going on, that is going to permeate back home. So how does that mistake rekindle a spirit of helping you to improve yourself as an individual and as a leader? So mistakes help you grow because you'd have been hurt, you'd have been tarnished, you'd have been impacted. What is it that is going to help you grow through that process and become better? The second is, clearly it's a negative. When you make a mistake, it's a negative aspect. But how do you flip that and turn that into a positive? Now, in some cases, you can do it on your own, but some people don't know how to turn that around because otherwise they end up making the same mistake. You want to break that cycle, whatever it happens to be. So how do you turn the negative into a positive? Well, there are various different ways. You can try and understand what went wrong, how it went wrong, and what to avoid for the future. But you need to turn that negative into a positive element. And that of course links into this, the self-learning or the learning piece that Bryant talked about. How are we going to learn from the mistakes that we have made? Now, for a lot of people, it's very difficult to do that on their own. So you may need a coach, you may need a mentor, you may need one of your peers, you may need a really close friend to whom you can talk. Clearly, it depends on how important and how serious that mistake was. Was it strategic? Was it financial? Was it people? Was it business? Was it supplier? Was it whatever? How does that fit into the entire process? And what was the size and impact of that mistake being made? Because through self-learning, or through learning through that experience, you then grapple with the building blocks that allowed you to get to that stage. Because you see, one of the things is, a lot of us are kind of robotic, or we have a habit that we have created or formed or developed, and often we don't see it, let alone knowing how to break it. So let me give you a very simple example. Let's say you are indeed the CEO, chairman, head of department, whatever it happens to be, project leader, team leader, and you put in motion a particular objective or goal or activity that you want to see get done. Now let's assume, to make this simple, because you're up here, somebody junior in the company, but maybe has a key role, says to you or wants to say to you, that is not a good idea for whatever reason. But you decide, A, if you heard it, you don't want to hear it. That person may have had his or her thoughts stifled by middle management and it never gets to you. But let's assume it gets to you and you're told about it. But you say, no, that person's too junior, doesn't know, it's my decision. You run with it and you get it wrong. The learning from that has to be that it doesn't matter where anybody is positioned in the organization. If they have a valuable piece of information to contribute to help you make your choices and decisions, you should be open, honest, and create that dialogue and framework that they can come to you and you can listen, and then you can either adapt, change, or indeed curtail completely whatever it was that you had to work with. That's part of learning. That's part of the self-learning. It's the ability to say, I don't get it right all the time. I got it wrong that time. I didn't listen to that junior person. I should be doing it. But I'm just using that as a simple example because I think it's easier for us to connect with. We all get it because as leaders, sometimes we play the ego piece. I'm the boss and you're the subordinate. Therefore, I know it all, which is not strictly true, is it? So in reality, we learn from the mistakes and we grow. So it's about becoming a better person through the mistakes that you make. It's about moving that negative experience into a positive one to make sure it doesn't happen again. And it's about learning, self-learning. How do you learn? Because we've all had situations where we've made mistakes. We started out as babies, toddlers, young kids, young adults, teenagers. Boy, do you remember the teenage years? When your parents had it all wrong, the world was against you, you had it all figured out. And the famous words of the parents, as I give to my children or my parents gave to me, we've been on this journey longer than you, so we know where the pitfalls are. That's why we're recommending you go this route and not that route, but you have to leave them to run their path. Parenting is tough, as we all know, challenging but rewarding. It's the same thing. Because we're now grown up, we're adults, because we run businesses, we're leaders, we have to auto-control, auto-manage, auto-learn, because maybe we're at the top of the mountain. Who else is there to tell us if we're doing the right thing or the wrong thing? So those are a few thoughts and a few ideas to help you along this path. On the one hand, acknowledging that it's okay to make mistakes. Indeed, it's welcoming to make mistakes. The issue is to minimize them, learn from them, and not to repeat them. Because if you do, you're then in this spiral, which is a negative thing, and you want to get out of it. So make mistakes, yes. Learn from them, absolutely. Do not repeat them as much as possible, yes. So if you have gathered anything from this video, please like, share, comment. Love to hear from you as to whether you think that you've made enough mistakes to last you a lifetime, or you've still got a whole lifetime left of mistakes to make. Either way, love you to remain connected, subscribe to the channel, and we can share some more videos around leadership and what it takes to be a successful leader. Until the next time, Thank you.